Welcome to another episode of Learn with Dr. Michael. So today we're going to be talking about the art of negotiation. What is negotiation? Negotiation literally means to bring about by means of discussion or to find a way through an obstacle. Why do you need to negotiate? You need to negotiate in life because life actually throws many opportunities at us, so many options, but those options can come in a way that does not actually favor us. You need to discuss, you need to negotiate to bring those options to the point where they actually begin to favor you. So this is why you negotiate. A lot of people make the mistake of thinking that negotiation is war. No, it is not. I want you to think of negotiation more like a dance. You're trying to bring you and the person you're negotiating with to a win-win situation. It has to be at every single point during your negotiation that you're winning and the person you're negotiating with is also winning. To go into the main crux of the matter, there are 3 P's of negotiation. The first P is to prepare. The second one is to probe. The next thing is to begin to propose solutions to the truths you've uncovered from asking these questions. Let's take for instance that a client walks up to you and sees a 500 square meters plot that you're selling for 40 million naira. You are a realtor. Then this client wants to buy 3 plots, but instead of 120 million, the client now wants to buy it for 100 million. However, you are a realtor, so you don't have any power to actually sell this particular plot for 100 million for this client. Reach out to the developer. The developer says no, he's not selling for anything less than 120 million. A lot of new realtors can say just let this deal slide since he does not have enough money to buy it and the developer is not looking to sell. But experienced realtors will find out that this is an opportunity for them to negotiate. Using the 3 P's of negotiation with the next concept we're going to discuss, which is the partner, you can actually bring this to a win-win situation between the developer, the client, and yourself. So how do you do this? The first P is to prepare. By preparation, it means you have to gather all the information that you need concerning this property, concerning the value of the property, concerning every single thing about the property, the developer and the client. You need to understand who the client is, the amount of money that they have. You need to understand who the developer is and what their value proposition is like. You need to also understand the value of the property as against the value of every other property. So the next thing is to probe. In your probing, you're going to be asking a lot of questions. First of all, starting from the client, you need to find out if it's a value issue or is a money issue. When you ask the client, why don't you want to buy for 120 million? I don't think it's worth it for me to spend 120 million. So you know that it's a value issue. When you're proposing, you will now start bringing up the value of the property to the client so that he knows that the value of the property is actually worth it. Comparing it to other properties around the vicinity can in some form of way make him want to up his budget if it's not a money problem. So but when you're asking him questions, when you're probing, you also understand that okay, see, this client actually just wants to buy this for investment purposes, right? So all these things that you're asking will give you the opportunity to begin to proffer solutions, right, that would enable the clients make a better decision. On the side of the developer, you can also ask the developer questions to find out why he does not want to reduce the price. During your probing session, your aim is to find out the why. So don't finding out the why, you now begin to proffer solutions. In this case, when you find out that it's a value problem, you begin to proffer solutions in the sense that you're increasing the value of the property in the eyes of the client. When it's a money problem, you begin to proffer solutions. Some solutions can be you can pay in installments, right? It's something that can help him buy those properties. You can also tell him that he can buy 2 plots instead of 3. Since the developer does not want to come down, you bring those solutions in a way that it favors the client. In the developer's side, you can also proffer solutions to the developer, because one thing that we know is that in real estate you always need money. You need money for development, you need money for infrastructure, you need money to acquire more plots. So every developer is actually looking for money. So if you give them the opportunity that this client wants to actually pay outright, he's looking to pay outright of 100 million for these 3 plots instead of paying in bits, the developer might actually consider it if he's paying outright. So if you give him this opportunity, if you provide this solution to him, he might actually take it. So when he says that he can take outright for 100 million and then you tell your client and he agrees, he can pay, and that's the win-win for everybody, including you. So when you try to provide solutions to the developer and to the clients and still they are at loggerheads, right? This is where your partner comes in. What does partner mean? Partner means best alternative to a negotiated agreement. Partner is always that alternative that you have all the time that you can propose to change the game. Why do you need a partner? Partners always give you the power to negotiate. Take for instance, in this scenario, you find another developer who is willing to go as low as 110 million, right? Or even lower than this, within the same estate or around the vicinity where the client actually wants this property. And then you give that alternative to the client. He might actually take it. So that's a strong partner. Or you bringing this knowledge to the developer that there is another person that actually wants to give this person this deal, that is better you take it. And knowing from your probing that this developer actually needs money, he can take the deal. Or the alternative that you may have could be that, as I already said earlier, that he could spread the payments in bits and actually pay it for that 120 million. Always having a partner will give you the opportunity to have the upper hand in all your negotiations. Second one is desperation. When you have alternatives, it helps you cut out desperation. Because one thing that you don't want to be during a negotiation agreement is to be desperate. Because once desperation is sensed, everything is off the table. Once you have strong alternatives, it helps you have a leverage. Because every single negotiation deal, you must have something to work with, which is a leverage. That leverage cuts out desperation. Next thing that it helps you do is to know your limits. Because there are some negotiations that can never work. You understand? So, but when you have alternatives and then you have exhausted all your alternatives, you know that, oh, this thing cannot work. It's better to step off the table than to cause a fraction or friction between you and your client or the developer. Are the reasons why you must have an alternative. In conclusion, my mentor would always say, you don't get what you ask, you get what you negotiate. As I've already said here, negotiation is an art. And as with all arts, you need to practice in order to become perfect. Whatever situation that you find yourself in, negotiate. If you see any deal and then it does not conform to what you actually want, negotiate. This is a call for you to negotiate every single deal that you have. You will see that you will start getting better outcomes. Again, it is your favorite real estate consultant, Dr. Odokro Michael, here at Moontech Real Estate. Thank you.